everybody. It's Allie, and welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, October 26th, 2025. I really feel that Sharon reading Adventures of Huck Finn to Noah is what's going to bring him out of the coma. Reading is fundamental. I can only hope that maybe someday the fauna and the flora will bring someone out of a coma. That is my greatest hope. I really felt for Sharon this week. She was torn between wanting to be there to support Mariah, who is in bad shape, but ultimately choosing to stay in LA to be with Noah, who is in even worse shape. I have to say, I think this is all a very intriguing mystery, and I feel very excited about unraveling it. I cannot wait to find out what exactly happened to Noah. What exactly did he get himself caught up in? And most importantly, what exactly does the hunky new guy look like underneath all of those bandages? Yes, I know I could look it up online, but I prefer the element of surprise. This is fun. I'm all about Sienna. Nick is all over her. Will he be all over her in a different way in the coming weeks and months? I just really like her. I think we should pair her with Nate because Nate is hot and I want everyone paired with Nate. But who knows, maybe Kyle. Either way, I mean, we are going to have to find a reason to bring her back to Genoa City. Although I have a feeling that we're going to be in LA for a little while at least, trying to unwrap, unravel, unbandage all of this. I need Kyle to uncover the mystery about the husband. I need him to tell me what's going on. Because Kyle has been hanging out at the hotel restaurant, which I did not know was a hotel restaurant. It looks just like Il Giardino to me. But apparently it's the hotel restaurant, and Kyle and Claire and Holden and Nick have all been hanging out there. Sienna joined the party too. And Nick is desperate to find answers about what could have happened to Noah and what his connection to Sienna is. So Nick went back to the bar to question her, and he didn't really get anywhere, but he did get far enough to realize that she's lying about something. And we can certainly sense that she's lying about something. And we can sense that Holden knows way more than he's letting on. Claire is pressing on Holden just a little bit this week. And more surprisingly, she's softening toward Kyle. I did not expect that. Holden went with Claire to the hospital to meet her cousin Noah for the first time, but Kyle was the one who connected it back to Dad and the feelings that she must be having just lost her father in a hospital, and that those feelings must be flooding back to her. And as soon as Kyle said that, it was like, boom. You know, she was suddenly remembering all of the good times with Kyle, like how he bought her those first edition mystery books and also encouraged her to write her own novel. OMG, you guys! Y&R is so literary right now. Are they anticipating the release of the fauna and the flora? And they are trying to prepare a cozy little scene where they can have a character reading a copy? Wouldn't that be cool? Claire loves reading mystery novels, but how does she feel about anthropomorphic soap operas? Who knows? Can't know, because Alley Cat Tail is the first one to write one. Oh, it's just too delicious. Who knows? Maybe Kyle is going to be able to win Claire back in all of this. Kyle has been busy doing some legwork, trying to research Sienna's husband, Mitch. So that's what I'm waiting for. That's what I want to know. Kyle's definitely trying to get the goods on Holden, trying to find out about the husband, and maybe, just maybe, while he's at it, dig up a couple of juicy, new, dirty details about Audra in the process. Sienna seemed like she was open to a deal on that one. Kyle went to the club to question her, and boy, wasn't he a fish out of water. Preppy Genoa City Kyle walking up into a hip LA nightclub. Excuse me, is there a dress code in here? Ma'am, I believe you're wearing a tie. Finally, we got to go inside of Mariah's head. We got to pull apart the red velvet curtain. And who is sitting there behind the curtain playing peekaboo but Ian Ward? Hallelujah, the devil. I have never been so happy to see his face. Number one, because, it's a good time of year for a villain, even if briefly. But number two, Ian Ward's presence represents the big blank spot in Mariah's mind that I have needed to fill for months now in order to understand her motivations. Ian Ward is all of a sudden sitting in front of Mariah, dressed as a priest, waiting for her confession, the confession that, honestly, we have all been waiting for. And Mariah finally confessed that she met this guy, Pillow Man, at the hotel bar when she was away on her business trip, and something about him triggered her thoughts about Ian. And then suddenly Mariah got it into her head that even though she knew consciously that Ian Ward was dead, she felt subconsciously like if she could kill this normie guy, that it would somehow kill the representation of Ian Ward that was still very much alive in her mind. And so she let this average, everyday, normal guy think that they were getting along. She even let him kiss her But all the while, she was secretly planning his murder. Just to quiet the voices that were in her head. Damn! That is dark. That is actually a terrifying disconnect from reality. It seems like an episode of Dateline to me. I'm imagining Keith Morrison filming his scenes outside the hotel. The story of the horrific hotel murder. That episode of Dateline's titled Pillow Man. But of course, in the end, Pillow Man survived. He either fought her off or Mariah pulled back at the last minute. But either way, Ian Ward is already dead. Or is he? Okay, Tessa and Daniel, you got me. You got me. Finally. With the kiss, you got me. I mean, you know, I've been feeling lukewarm about this couple for weeks now. I just haven't been into it. But this week, something definitely changed for me. And not just the kiss. This week, for the first time, I got a sense of, and really believed in, Tessa returning Daniel's feelings. And I think that was the key piece that has really been missing for me. Because we have known for ages that Daniel has feelings for Tessa. We have seen him go through the stages from unrequited love to from crush, really, starting at crush to unrequited love to, to deep connection. But then when the kiss finally happened this week, Tessa confessed that she has thought about it before. Many times, in fact. And that she has feelings for him too. That changes the whole story for me. Because now these are two people who have feelings for each other, but they are feelings that cannot be explored because, the situations of life are between them. She's married. She has a child. She is still committed emotionally and physically to Mariah. I think Tessa wants to be true to her marriage. She certainly has remained true to her marriage. And yet, these feelings have happened. And she slipped up. She let those feelings, slip through the barrier. But, one cannot control these types of feelings. The feelings themselves cannot be controlled. They just happen. It's up to you to decide how you act on them. Well, Tessa got a little drunk and she acted on them. She kissed Daniel and they kissed each other, in fact, standing in the stairwell of the athletic club. And, it really did feel forbidden romance to me. I really felt the chemistry, and I really hadn't before. So I have to say, the kiss sold me. What further sold me was the fact that they actually talked about it afterwards. They didn't just part awkwardly and then go their separate ways for the evening, even though that's what Daniel wanted to do. But Tessa said, no, I'm not ready to be alone. Let's not part. Let's talk through this. And then they sat there and chatted. And yes, it was a little weird. And yes, they were both a little tipsy. Tessa certainly more than Daniel. But they didn't run from it. And that tells me, oh, okay, these are two people who really want to be together. and could be together if not for circumstance. And that just really changed the story for me, because now it's sort of a classic tragedy, the longing to be together that can only be imagined, that can only happen in another time and space, until it happens again in this time and space. Danny and Christine's bachelorette party. It feels like so long ago because in the US that episode aired on Monday, but this has got to be one of the most perfect episodes of Y&R ever. I just found it to be so much fun. I love the idea that the guys were upstairs, the girls were downstairs at the athletic club, and it was so fun just to see them mingling alone and then getting that satisfaction of everyone coming together to create one big party, especially because Danny's bachelor party was a little bit lame on its own. He didn't really have any friends. Daniel couldn't make it. And that would have been his main support. So he had to recruit a couple guys that just stopped by for a drink. I think Jack and Michael were the only invited guests, and Devon and Nate just kind of hung on for the party. And then Victoria also hung on for the party, went downstairs with the ladies, and whatever, the more the merrier. Abby was there too. We haven't seen her in a little while. Well, we have, but it was good to check in with her. And plus Tracy, always great, always a joy. And everything was going so well until Phyllis crashed the party. Oh man, I mean, I just think Phyllis is someone who cannot leave well enough alone. And yet, she really brought the right amount of chaos for me, the level of chaos that I was comfortable with, because I need Danny and Christine to go ahead and have a happy wedding. So Phyllis crashing the bachelorette party was really even better. It was lighter and yet funnier than her crashing the wedding, and yet it got pretty vicious. Phyllis really went in on Christine, and Christine really came back at her. At one point, they almost physically fought, and the other women at the party had to hold them both back. It's heartbreaking, actually, because I feel like Phyllis is just so insecure. She's so fabulous. And her fatal flaw, really, I think, is her insecurity. She is so much better than having to crash a party in order to make herself feel relevant. But deep down, I don't think she believes that. I don't think she realizes that. I don't think she trusts it. I think she let her insecurity run right away with her, which is what she's been doing a lot of lately. Phyllis always has to pump herself up publicly, but I think she just doesn't believe in herself deep down, and that's sad. And so there was a little bit of this boy who cried wolf theme at the party, because all of a sudden, amid the other drama, the lights go out. And everybody assumed it was Phyllis's sabotage. She actually didn't do it, but everyone in unison stood there shouting out, "Phyllis!" And it was in the dark, believe it or not, where the real healing happened. The real emotional part happened. The lights went out. Danny comes upstairs, just to grab his guitar. He thought he would do a little serenade, bring his guitar back down to the party. He was determined to not let any of this nonsense ruin the evening. And upstairs in the dark, he ran into Phyllis. And I have to say, that conversation brought tears to my eyes. Yes, it did. Because Danny is an angel. You know how I feel. He does yet he does. He chooses to do that. And I can understand how that would be extremely irritating, infuriating, in fact, if I was Christine. I could see that would grate on Christine's nerves. She would have every right to be mad about that. But at the same time, I just think that Danny is one of the only people who just believes in Phyllis. He just purely believes in her, even if he doesn't have a reason to, even though she has screwed him over in massive ways, world-bending ways. But he just has this way with her. It's the same way that he kind of has with everything. You know, Danny is very peace, love, and understanding. And I feel like he really got through to Phyllis and helped her see that everything's going to be okay, even only if it's for one episode. And then the whole episode ended with Danny heading back downstairs, taking his seat at the piano beside beautiful Christine, then singing a beautiful song, Let Me In, singing through the darkness. The candles on top of the piano, and Danny and Christine looking so gorgeous and in love, and the crowd was in this dim, low light, and with all of their gorgeous, sparkly attire. It was striking and beautiful and hopeful and romantic and exactly what I needed. Are you kidding me? After absolutely everyone in Genoa City has spent the last month or more begging Kane to give them his AI superpower, Kane finally agrees to hand it over to Lily right as Phyllis steals it right out from under him. That is brilliant. Just brilliant. Before I dive any deeper into my Phyllis praise for the week, I just want to say that I found the scene between Lily and Kane to be very irritating because Lily was treating Kane like a child. That's what really bugs me. She can have her opinion of him, but the way she was speaking to him was like he was her son, not her ex-husband. You know, she's like, give it to me, Kane. Just give it to me right now. Give me the AI right now, or you are going to have to go to bed without TV, without dinner. I think he likes it. I think that's why the guys like Lily. And I think it was the same for Billy. I think they like that little bit of mothering. I mean, she talked to him like his mother, for sure, and made him agree to hand it right over. Did you steal that? Where did you get that? Where did you get that? Hand it right over now. Hand it over, mister. And he did. He agreed to hand it right over to her just as Phyllis was hacking away at her computer, stealing it out from under him. Yes. Thank you. It took Phyllis a couple of days to pull it off. I mean, even a hacker like Phyllis needs a couple of days to infiltrate a Fortune 500 company's computer systems. But she was very elaborate about it. First, Phyllis was hacking away at the coffee house right in front of Esther, who had a date to get to and really needed to go. So if you're going to tip, could you tip now before I have to leave? But then Phyllis went back to her hotel suite and finished her hacking in bed in a sexy negligee. Just alone, by herself, just for herself, not for anyone else. Phyllis hacked that program right out from under him when he could have had a chance to be under her. So I say serves him right. Serves him right for yanking her around. But as soon as he realized that the AI had been stolen, he came storming into her hotel room, knowing that it was her that did it, or at least strongly suspecting. But boy, didn't she give a good performance, insisting that she never would have betrayed him in that way. She's the only one he can trust. Standing too close, getting up in his face, and, did you think I was going to kiss you? And then the cherry on top of the whole cake, Phyllis blamed Victor for the whole thing. It's just genius. And then in the previews, Phyllis is with Victor, offering to sell the AI to him. Oh, bravo, Red. Bravo. My only question is, why sell it to Victor? Why not just sell it back to Kane at a markup? I mean, that would really show him. Or if you must, sell it to Jack. I mean, if Victor is Phyllis's end-all, be-all arch nemesis, she wouldn't want to help him by giving him this powerful weapon, right? So, I don't know, is there any chance she's planning to sell it to him, but plant a Trojan horse on the inside? I'm a conundrum, aren't I? Who said that? Could have been anyone, but it wasn't anyone. It was one person in specific. I'm a conundrum, aren't I? If you want to find out who said that, go to yrchat.com. How about some comments? Starting with the lovely Daisy, who says, I think having a very important computer program accessible via the internet for hackers to get seems more planned than an error on Kane's part. So, I wonder if Kane has been one step ahead of Phyllis all along. He left breadcrumbs for her so she'd hack into his computer system and take his AI program, or rather think she took it, as Kane actually left it for her. And now he's going to have his people follow her to see who she'll try to bring into her plan. Since she talked only about Victor, Kane knows it will likely be him, and that is what he wants. To get what he wants without anyone knowing he's involved. Perhaps for legal reasons, but also to make it seem like he's changed so he'd be one step closer to his children forgiving him. Woo! Power plays on top of power plays. That's layered, and I love it. Hey, how about some Y&R Chat Fast Fitbee? On Monday, I gave you guys a brand new fill-in-the-blank question, and I'm just going to fire off the responses I get. If I could give advice to one character this week, I'd say... if I could give advice to one character this week, I'd say, Nate, call Allie. Thank you. Daniel, go for it. Danny, you are beautiful inside and out, and I think you should let your hair go gray. Phyllis, honor Danny's kind heart toward you and your son and wish him well in this next chapter of life. Phyllis, it's time to leave Kane in the dust and rise from the ashes with a new Phoenix business all of your own. Tracy, get Phyllis some help for the trauma she endured this year. Phyllis, take a deep breath and take the high road and let go of Danny. And Diane, save the glittery red dress to wear again at Christmas. First of all, that was a lot of advice for Phyllis, right? She got the most advice this week. And second, Diane is not going to wear a dress twice. I like the idea, but oh no, I'm sure she's going to burn that when she's done with it. Hey, speaking of her, Gary says the biggest shining star, the brightest in Genoa City, is Jack Abbott's own Diane Jenkins, who beat out Melody Sharon and thank God Ashley for the daytime Emmys. Yes, it's true. Wow! So Susan Walters was the only award won for Y&R this year. Google says, at the 2025 Daytime Emmy Awards, The Young and the Restless won only one award, despite receiving 19 nominations. The single win was for Susan Walters in the Outstanding Supporting Actress category for her role as Diane Jenkins. This was a surprising result as the show had the most nominations but lost the Outstanding Daytime Drama Series Award to General Hospital. Wow, 19 noms and only got one, but hey, congrats, Susan Walters. She really is amazing. I'm surprised it was supporting actress. I thought she was lead actress. I'm trying to imagine though what would have been on her reel this year. What has Diane gone through this year? The remodel is what comes to mind. I wonder what she submitted. I'll have to look into that. Well, congrats. Oh, Connie says, well, just when I started to warm up to Diane, she gets all judgmental with her backstabbing insults about Phyllis. I'm reminded that her past behavior was why so many people were not happy when she first came back to Genoa City, and people living in newly renovated glass houses shouldn't throw stones. Phyllis will always be a hot mess, but she owns her stuff, and I give her props for never saying anything behind your back that you wouldn't say to your face. I do like that. Wouldn't say anything behind your back that you wouldn't say to your face. That is darn true. Naomi says, Phyllis is such a great character with facets of emotion yet to be explored. Christine, well, she's got nicknames and Danny, and that's about it. I understand it must be hard to write for the super good characters, so I won't blame Christine for her perfecto personality. Yeah, Sue W. says, Christine really hasn't had much of a story since she permanently left GC, hence her surface presence and comments. The actress is great, but her characters reuniting with Danny, engagement, and upcoming wedding are all just fun, glitzy romance, and eye candy for longtime Danny and Cricket fans. I'm enjoying it all, but don't see any of it as soapy, compelling story. Fluff. Yes, Sue W. I agree. It is fluff, and I love fluff. I love fluff when there's enough other intrigue going on. You know, I mean, I've got plenty of intrigue. I've got lots of stuff I can, stories I can follow and dig into and sink my teeth into and get real deep on. And so I think it's a nice counterbalance to have this fluff. But, I'm biased. Everybody knows how I feel about this. I am a Danny and Christine fan. I think I'm going to do a poll question this week that asks you guys what you thought about the Bachelor or Bachelorette party. Is all of this Danny and Cricket happiness too much fun? Can't get enough of it? Or is it too much fluff? If you'd like to cast your vote on that, go to yrchat.com. Victoria says, I loved the sing-along at the end of the show. It really highlighted the divide between Phyllis and Christine and Danny. Phyllis has sowed her seeds by not accepting Danny's wishes where Christine is involved. Today, I think Phyllis really heard Danny. It was heartbreaking to see how Phyllis is on the outside and everyone else on the other side of the wall, singing together and toasting. Phyllis could have been a guest if she put her vendetta to the bed. Unfortunately, Phyllis might be heading into another relationship with a man who only wants the love of his life back. Phyllis deserves someone who will put her first. Yeah, I forgot to mention that Phyllis, Danny invited her. He said, why don't you come down, be with us. Danny! And she said, no. But then later she showed up at the doorwell. Is that the word? Stairwell? And she looked down upon the party. And, but yeah, you're right, Victoria. It was really well represented as two very separate things. There's the friendships and the loves, and then Phyllis on the outside of it. That really speaks very well to where her character is right now, symbolically. Oh, Sharon W. says, I don't like to root for cheating. Except in soaps. But I was cheering through tears when Daniel told Tessa he was falling in love with her. The dialogue between them was so sweet and meaningful, but I felt dejected when she told him in a different time she could fall in love with him too. He responded immediately by telling her that he only had the present time and would need her to love him in that time frame. You know what? I'm not gonna lie. I love cheating in soaps too. Because in in reality, I should be like, oh, no, no, no. But it's soap. We're allowed to have fun. Yeah, it was very touching. It was very moving. It definitely had a tragic vibe to it. Oh, but Sherrod says, Tessa being with Daniel is so wrong. Mariah likes both men and women, and she told that to her best friend Kevin. Yet, Y&R had her cheat with a woman. But the professed lesbian is falling for a man. Not sure how that works. Soap opera be damned. I am highly disappointed. Yes, I can imagine this is an unpopular turn of events for many fans. I guess I'm just imagining that Tessa, that she's allowed to change her mind, you know, that she's allowed to go with the sexual flow, as it were. But we'll see. I mean, I feel still rooting for Mariah and Tessa, but boy, I tell you, the Tessa and Daniel thing put a real ding in my opinion of that for the week. Oh, Brent says, first, I need to give Ian Ward credit. He is the first TV character I have ever heard who's pronounced the name banal correctly. Not that I've heard it that many times, but still, good job. Well, Brent, first of all, I have to pause there because now I'm questioning my saying of the word. I thought, is it banal? That's what I thought. I could be wrong. But moving on, Brent says, I love the actor Ray Weiss who plays Ian. My son and I were watching the prestige drama Mad Men last summer. And every time Ray Weiss's character appeared, I said, that's Ian Ward from Y&R. My son rolled his eyes. Yes, right? Because that is such a dad thing, you know. You probably have repeated it 100 times, so he's probably just like, I know, Dad. So Brent says, well, any excuse for Ian Ward is fine with me, but didn't we do this recently with Cameron Kirsten? Okay, that's interesting. I hadn't made that particular connection, because we did recently, maybe at around this time last year, have Cameron Kirsten haunting Sharon in her head, and now Ian Ward is haunting Mariah in her head. Oh, Gary says, everyone is gonna say the Ian Ward actor is great. Go back to the beginning with Allie raving like a mad woman about him before he ever even appeared on screen. Well, it takes more than that. The Ray Weiss character has always been kind of dumb, at least to me. It's interesting how in recent decades we have gone years without a true villain, and now we can't do without one. Yeah, and Sue W. says, I'd rather go with affairs, secrets, betrayals, paternity, baby switcheroos, corporate shenanigans, and all the backstabbing of the such. All while soapily suspending logic, as we do, rather than demonic, crazed, lunatic, murdery villain stuff. Just my druthers giving rolled side eyes to thriller horror stuff creeping into my soaps, even if the actors kill it. Yeah, I mean, that's my preference. I don't get the impression that this is going to be an extended stay for Ian Ward. So, I mean, maybe this was just a little bit of a Halloween taste. But I agree. It's not quite what I want. I don't love hospital drama. I don't love murdery, villainy drama. But I don't know, for some reason, Ian Ward checks all the boxes for me. Naomi says, I am not sure what to guess on the reappearance of Ian Ward. Months ago, he opened an eye while being wheeled out on a gurney. Now he pops up in his clergy wear in the institution where Mariah had checked in. I keep thinking that her clinic is actually a part of the cult campus where Mariah and Ian cohabitated. She's putting herself back under cult protection because that's what she knows and in her mind deserves. The alternative is Ian just lives in Mariah's head. She's been able to pretend all of this is normal until the Pillow Man incident. So I didn't think of it as literal. You're right. There is that little bit of is he alive or isn't he alive? And I guess I just interpreted it as, I mean, maybe he is, but to me that felt like a Mariah hallucination. And then the card was back together at the end, and I don't really know what to read of that. I think it was sort of meant to be left on that hanging note. I think Y&R didn't really know. I think they wanted to leave the door open to bring him back, and that's probably why his eye popped open. And then they have brought him back now, but in a way where you kind of, is he dead? Is he not dead? We don't know. Why didn't they bring back Aunt Jordan along with him? It's funny that they left the door open for more Ian Ward, but not for more Aunt Jordan. And of the two, I actually think I preferred her. Steven says, now Mariah may have a diagnosis, assuming that hospital security watched her hallucination. But if the real Reverend Ward performed the card trick, then all bets are off. Yes, you know, that's an interesting point, Stephen. The security footage could tell us whether or not he was there. So if Mariah were to tell her doctors that she had this hallucination, they could certainly check the footage and find out. But I think at the end of the day, Mariah didn't believe that he was there. I think maybe Mariah doesn't trust her own instincts. So I think Mariah believes it was a hallucination. Victoria says, I was surprised that Sharon did not tell Mariah that she would do everything to come to her. I can't remember a time when Mariah asked for help for herself. Mariah sounded broken and lost. Noah needs his parents, but he is covered, and Nikki and Victoria could be there quickly. Yes, that was such a difficult decision for Sharon to have to make, where to stay. And yeah, I thought she was going to go, because you make a great point. Mariah's not someone who usually asks for the help, but she did. And Sharon had, you know, she shut it down. I think she didn't want to tell Mariah what was going on with Noah. She didn't want to complicate her situation, make her feel worse. So she, you know, she selflessly kind of kept that under wraps, but then also chose to stay with Noah ultimately. You're right. She, you know, Nick was there. I just think she felt like, all right, this is bad for both of my kids, but Noah's in worse shape, so I should be with him. But I think she could have done more for Mariah. Russell says, Noah's nurse is horrible. She just dashed Sharon's hopes about the finger twitch. That poor guy playing Noah has to be wrapped up with that thing strapped to his face for so many episodes. Yeah, you know what? The nurse, it seemed rude. I mean, you know, it's difficult. I don't know what it's like to be an ER nurse. Honestly, I mean, having been through everything with my dad, it puts it in a little different perspective, because, you know, these people see some stuff. And she's probably right, you know, in 100 circumstances, you know, 99 of them, the finger twitch would have just been, you know, involuntary. But, you know, we're in a soap, and, you know, we know that one little finger twitch was the signal that he's going to be getting his face unbandaged soon. I can't wait to see them unwrap the bandages. That's going to be good for Y&R week, the mummy reveal. Sue W. says, I'm wondering, could the, as I understand, apparently bandaged up Noah end up being not the real Noah, an imposter? Yeah, you know, I was thinking it was weird that Mitch went missing at the same time as Noah, and then I was like, are they the same person? You know, and then how does the cop guy fit in? Is that Mitch? Maybe the cop guy was Mitch. Oh, I just pieced that together, duh. The guy who was pretending to be the cop is Mitch. I'm so dumb. Oh, now I know. But Noah being an imposter would be a good twist. Hey, Sharon W. says, I know that the main stories are with Claire, Kane, and Noah, but I'm really loving that. But if you're going to add Billy, Sally, Adam, Chelsea on the screen, instead of keeping them on the sidelines, could you assign them a writer just to write for those 4? Lately, their stories and dialogue are repetitious and boring. With next week's previews, however, the stories may finally pick up, since Billy hits Adam, knocking him to the floor. What is the reason for that? In my opinion, I would have rather seen Adam throw the first punch. You know, I don't know. What is the reason for that? I mean, it seemed like everything was mostly fine, and then I don't know how we are going to barrel toward a punch in the face. I guess we'll find out when we get there. Robin says, is Y&R going to save money and somewhat merge with B&B? The storylines seem to be progressing a lot toward LA with a new mention of Abbott Communications, Audra and Sally, and doing business there. I kind of like the idea of a semi-merge. I wonder, if someday, I suppose there will be a day where Y&R does stop, but, maybe that would be the move that they would do, would be to merge the two. But it seems like Y&R is doing well, though, still right now. So they still got fans watching. I can't see them maybe doing a merge, but maybe utilizing some of the same assets, the stages and things, that's for sure. Russell says, Claire doesn't know what she wants. She's back and forth with Kyle, and it appears that she likes Kyle begging. And when he finally said he was going home, as she instructed him to, she backpedals. That would be very frustrating. And then to tell him to do whatever he thinks is best just after she said that, after he said he was leaving, it was not great. Yeah, Russell, you know what? I felt the same way, like Claire was giving mixed signals, and I think you're right. It's purely that she doesn't know what she wants. Maybe Claire needs a visit from Aunt Jordan to remind her how good she's got it. Brent says, forgive me if someone already has said this, but is it possible that Holden, Novak, and Kane conspired in some way to cause Noah's car accident as a way of distracting the Newmans from Kane's master plan? The timing of Holden's trip to LA is suspicious. That's a good point, Brent, because I kind of forgot Holden was even working for Kane. It just almost seemed like it was something that dropped away, but that is a very good possibility. I did ask you guys last week if you think that Holden is involved in what happened with Noah, and the majority of you, 61%, believe that no, Holden was not directly involved in what happened to Noah. 39% saying yes. Well, Stephen says I voted no. Holden has the perfect alibi, having been out of town with Claire. When he learns of the collision and the connection of Sienna and Noah, all the puzzle pieces will fall into place, and Holden alone will have the key to save Noah from adversity. And becoming Claire's hero in the process? Connie voted no because I don't think he's directly involved. However, he is up to his eyeballs in the backstory with Sienna. He had that guilty/panicked look when she first approached him and Claire. He is guilty by association somehow, and definitely a person of interest in the case. Marianne V voted no. I don't think Holden was involved with Noah's accident, but Sienna sure was. Noah was supposed to open a nightclub in LA. Could she be the same one Sienna owns or manages? Could it be the same one she owns or manages? Yeah, you know what, Marianne V? You left this comment early in the week before Kyle showed up at the bar. But yeah, Sienna was talking about her husband having a meeting with Noah because he also wanted to open a bar. I don't know. I do not know what the connection is. I'm lost but intrigued. That's a good place to be. Lost but intrigued. Let's see. Oh, Connie says, my fall fashionista eye is loving the rock star vibe in the wardrobe. Tessa's cute print dress with studded leather jacket. That was fabulous. Daniel in a jean jacket, and both of them in the jazz lounge with the gold musical instruments sculpture in the background wall. Phyllis in that unique off-the-shoulder number that matched the Crimson Lights fall table decorations. Even Esther had a bright striped flowing blouse that had a party vibe. That's funny. Phyllis did match the fall decorations, which I honestly think don't ever change. I feel like those are the exact same decorations that we've just circled back around to, and now it looks appropriate because it's fall. But yeah, she matched that. Esther looked like a piece of candy with her stripes, like a taffy pull or something, or one of those old style hard candies that belong in a candy dish. And then, I mean, Rockstar vibe, you got to point out Sienna's t-shirt, tie, and did she have a jacket over it? Yeah, she definitely was looking pretty cool and hipstery. Best dressed of the week, though, for me, definitely goes to Christine. Gary says, I thought Cricket looked like a partying ad for the New Year's Baby 2026 at her stripper party. Did I say this? Chatters, don't get mad. Yes, she had the one shoulder vibe, the bride crown. It was traditional bachelorette. I do agree with the New Year's 2026 vibe, not the stripper part. But it had almost a New Year's vibe to it. I actually think that a New Year's Eve wedding would have been fun for Danny and Christine. You know, kind of a party atmosphere. Fresh beginning. That would have been good. Gary also says, does anyone know if Esther's date will be completely off camera as has become the custom? Yes! Darn it. Esther has gone man crazy. I guess Esther's kind of always been a little man crazy, but you know, she's man crazy and we never get to see it. One date, one hint of a date would be a hilarious little addition to Esther's pop-ins. Come on, Y&R, get on that. Seeing Esther's great, you're doing a good job, but maybe having her pop in with a date or just like in the background with a guy would be a nice little way to ratchet that up, elevate her presence. Russell says Esther was super nosy and a bit condescending when she was digging into Phyllis's attempts at employment. I'm surprised Phyllis didn't bite her head off and spit it out across the Crimson Lights patio. I'm in a Halloween mood. Yes, Russell. I'm in a Halloween mood too. Well, last week, my newsletter peeps got an exclusive preview of Chapter 14 from the Fauna and the Flora, starring Cathra Chancellor and John Abbott. Oh, it's one of my favorite scenes in the book. It's so special, and I'm so glad you guys got to hear it. You guys were the very first to hear any of this, the first time anyone outside of my family has heard it. And so thank you all so much for all of the lovely feedback. I mean, whether you actually read the chapter as the ebook that I sent out, or if you listen to the audiobook versions, it just means so much to me that you guys read it and that you heard it and that you felt it. You know, it just, especially on the audiobook version, there was sort of a channeling of that was going on there in the characters of Cathra Chancellor and John Abbott, and so that you heard that and felt that, and that it was conveyed, that it came across. That really means a lot to me. I really think I'm in the calm before the storm right now, and I don't know if I like it. The audiobook is still under review with Amazon. I am really hoping that they just go ahead and approve that and we can sail right through. The paperbacks are still on their way. I think there must be a lot of new books released around this time of year, and so the printing of the paperbacks is taking forever. But it is all about to click right into place. I can feel it. And once that approval comes through on the audiobook and the paperbacks get here, it is go time for F&F. The minute that the book is live, I promise you guys are going to be the first to know. It's just so funny because it's been 6 years of building out this world and working on this incredible story, even through everything that's gone on in my own, personal life, just really never giving up on this story. And now I'm learning that even in publishing, nature has its own timing. It's just totally out of my control. But I feel like Cole would be proud of me learning the tricks and the trades of the publishing industry. Well, if you are one of my email peeps and you didn't yet get a chance to hear the chapter, you got to go check your email, check your spam box. You know how these things are. Sometimes they get sent there. You're going to want to hear it. You're going to want to read it. And if you're not one of my email peeps, then you definitely want to jump on right now, because the next email I send will have the full official trailer. And let me say, it's very good. And it includes the original song that appears in the audiobook and book, actually, too. So if you want to find out the second that everything goes live, if you want to be the first to know, you can go to yrchat.com/storylines. And of course, yrchat.com is my home base for everything Y&R Chat. Be sure to check in there tomorrow, and I'll post another fast Y&R Chat fill in the blank discussion starter for the week. And of course, the discussion just continues to roll on as the week rolls on. And that's a great place to leave your comments, especially if you have something to say that you really think deserves to be read out loud. Okay, everybody. I love you guys. I hope you have a wonderful week, a wonderful Halloween, and I will see you next Sunday. Bye.